My name is Kinsey, and I'm the CEO and founder of Native Creative. And I'm so excited to be hopping on this live today with all of you. Today, we are going to be chatting with Paige Slaughter from Fruition Studio. And Paige has this super exciting new project that she's been working on. It's called the Real Content Club, and I've been a part of it in her trial run, and it's been super awesome. Hey, Paige. So today she's going to be walking us through her signature content planning process called the Fruition Method. And we are super excited to be chatting with her. We're going to be learning all about how to plan your content strategy for an entire month at a time. And it's going to be super fun. So let's go ahead and bring Paige on. We'll hear from her. Hi, Shop 714 Home. So excited you joined us. Hi, Paige. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great. I'm so excited to have you on here today. For those of you who don't know, Paige is just today launching her Real Content Club membership program. It is so exciting. And we just had our first little mastermind meeting. It was so much fun just to come together and join and chat with people. But anyway, okay, you tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you, girl.
Well, I've been all in this. I am launching this membership because we want these spaces where we can grow, and I think that when we're starting a business, marketing can feel like this thing that we have to figure out and get it right and do the right thing always. But I don't think it's really like that. I think that it's really an art, and we're always learning how to talk to our people, and we're always learning what strategies to use and how to tweak our messaging. And it's this ongoing process. It's like a never-ending thing that we get better and better at. So, I've taken a million courses. You've taken a million courses.
Yeah.
It's easy and it's fun to learn, but I really wanted to create this space that is built around an ongoing supportive way and relationship. So that's been what's happening. I'm really excited for today and launching, getting people in there. And yeah, this morning's first call was awesome because it's just fun to bounce ideas off of people and get feedback and we're going to start implementing the Fruition Method any day now.
Yay, which is exactly what we're talking about today. So can you just explain to us a little bit, what the Fruition Method is and how it works into Real Content Club and all of that? Oh shoot,
yeah,
did I pause?
Sure. My phone alerted me and then it paused me.
Oh, okay, no worries.
Yes, so the Fruition Method is something that I came up with after 5 years of working with all different kinds of small businesses and, different sizes, different industries, realizing that, people are having really similar experiences where whether they're doing all of their own content creation themselves or they're delegating it out, hiring freelancers or hiring a part-time employee or whatever, people are running into the same issues. And that was, what do I say? How do I say it? And how do I actually stay consistent with it? Those are the things. Those are the things that everybody faces.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Even marketers. Two of my clients in the past were marketing firms. And they had a hard time keeping up with their own marketing. So this is a hard thing. So I created this method that just kind of simplifies the process and allows us to plan out our content for the month in a way that's actually enjoyable and, is really efficient because we're creating a piece of content and then the little pieces I'm gonna have to plug my phone in, I think. And you know, I wanted this method to really reflect what real life is like. Like, I always had a hard time with editorial calendars because to me they're just like kind of forced. And then you get everything laid out and then you go into the month and it's like, oh my gosh, I missed a day, now my whole month is off. Like, to me it never really worked to have an editorial calendar. So I wanted a method that really made room for being inspired and putting out content from an inspired place and communicating with our audiences in a way that, you know, felt really natural and real and organic, and always having enough of a plan and structure to be able to put out quality content on a consistent basis.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, if you like try to force content, like people can tell. You know, it's like they can tell when you're not being real, like even on the internet.
Yeah, no, for real, because we're all on the internet a lot. Like, we pick up things now. We can sense it.
Or sometimes it's even like to the worst, like on the opposite side, you know, it's like really hard to put your personality into a post and stuff. And so if you're like not being real, then you're really not going to do a great job your personality and your point across and all that.
Yeah. And I think an important thing there too is that translating your personality into content is not easy. Like, you have all the intention in the world to be authentic and genuine, but translating that is hard. And so, like, step one is having the intention for sure, but then step two is figuring out how to do it. And that's where the ongoing evolution, I think, comes in. Like, that's where the practice comes in, and being able to just grow in that way.
Yeah, definitely. I was just listening to a podcast about that last night where it was like, I'm sure the quote is like just so well known, but it's like the whole, like, you can't be successful without failing, you know, like, you have to be willing to like adjust and try new things and figure out what works and all that stuff. And that's like the scariest part, but that's what you have to go through, you know, it's like an evolution, definitely.
Yeah. Unless you're just looking for a recipe of what's worked, you know, you can follow that and probably have success, and that's cool. But that's not what all of us want to do, right? In this space, that's not what all of us are here to do.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so when it comes to the fruition method, where, like, how does it, or like, where do we start with that?
So it's an acronym.
Okay.
So obviously, first one is F, and that is for foundation. So this one step is something we do one time, and we lay a foundation for all of your content creation going forward. And we do that by outlining values and emotions and some basic branding, what platforms you're going to be on. We kind of lay out all the necessary pieces and get a really clear idea of what type of message we want to put forward so that we can always refer to that and then have consistent branding and rely on that month after month as we go forward with the message. I'm getting a window and
you're getting waved at.
I am. You're right.
So funny.
So that's step one, and that's what we rely on each month. And then every month we go forward with the rest of the letters, and we're always referring to that foundation. Another piece of that foundation that is really key is kind of a secret sauce for really investing in some core pieces of content and then breaking those up into different nuggets of content for different platforms and different ways of messaging. And that's kind of all about like, you know, people need to hear something, 8 times before they really hear it. So it makes sense for us as creators to really craft our message and then distill that into small pieces so that we can keep delivering that message over and over until it becomes familiar, but we can still do it in a way that's not repetitive, where we're not just, copy and pasting 8 times. We can do it in a way that fits different platforms and feels slightly different, and then also just maximize the effort that we're putting into what we're making. So that's all kind of wrapped up into the foundation.
Yeah, I love that. That's going to be is that the biggest step, you think? I'm like, woo!
Foundational one. Yeah, that's the
foundational step. Okay, cool. Okay. It's so important, though.
Yeah, it is, because, it's easy to get caught up in like wanting to just put things out there. But when we really take the time to create a solid baseline, then, we can go forward in a more fluid way, and being efficient also just feels good, because then we're creating momentum and we can see the effects of what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, the whole point of strategy is like being able to kind of like plan things out and do it with purpose versus just throwing things out into the into the wilderness, and hoping that they stick. And I think that that's so important. And that's one of the questions I get like the most often. Like, how do I know what to post about? Like, what do I post about? Like, what should I post? And like just considering your core values and like what is helpful to your audience, and like having that all planned out in like these themes beforehand is probably just like so helpful. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So that's the baseline, and that also brings us to step 2, which is review and preview. So we know what our core values are, our core emotions, our the way that we want to make our audience feel, and our core stories, all these things. Then we bring that into context by looking back at what we've been doing lately and looking forward at what we're doing next. So, we want to put all of our core elements into perspective when we're going into our planning, because then things are relevant and they're in line with the products we want to focus on. They're in line with our goals. They're in line with our launches. So, and we're also learning from what we've been doing, so that we're going forward in a way that is, helping us grow.
Mm-hmm.
So step 2 is all about looking back, looking forward, and kind of situating what we care about into what's happening.
That is so important. Like, yeah, you know how much I listen to podcasts, girl. And I was listening to another one, probably the same guy, honestly. And he was just saying about how important it is just to like look back over the past year. He was talking about making room for 2020 and then like, applying the lessons that you've learned. And he's like, I would be disappointed if I didn't have things that I needed to change. You know what I mean? He's like, we're all like growing. Like, I need to learn these lessons and then like learn from them. You can't ever just like set it and forget it. Like things are evolving all the time. So that's a really important step. I'm glad you have that second, definitely.
Well, that's a good perspective, because it's easy to feel overwhelmed by like, not hitting our targets or really testing things out, but that's also where we get to be creative. Like, that's also where we find our edge and get better at communicating and to that expressive place. Like, that's where like the magic happens, right? So we have to like look back and look forward in order to incorporate that element, what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I do that with my clients. Like every month I'm like, okay, what were the top posts? Like, what were the top hashtags? Like, how are these working and how are these not working? What can we do better? And yeah, I think on a monthly basis, just like overall, that's like just such a great way to approach everything.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people struggle to make the time to do that sometimes,
Yeah. Well, it's easy to feel like you're wasting time when you're doing it. But then once you actually start to put these metrics, into perspective, and once they start informing your decisions, then you realize that there's real value there.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. Cool.
Okay, so next is understanding universal context. And that is, we're all living in the same seasons. We're all living in the same holidays. And so we're just going to place our content in the context of what's happening around us. So this step is just noting what's coming up, noting what's happening, being aware of if you're going to plan a post on Black Friday, are you doing that intentionally, or did you just not realize what date it was? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in Real Content Club, I make a calendar every month that kind of does all of that legwork for my members. And that way they're not, they have a calendar right there of all the holidays happening, and they can kind of plug in what they're doing from there. So that's kind of a nice way to skip a little bit of work that, someone else can do for you.
Yeah, and I love that because, and I think I told everyone before this, but I was lucky enough to be in Paige's first trial month of Real Content Club, and the National Bacon Day. Like, I didn't even realize there was National Bacon Day. I was like, hold on.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
But then they're also like, oh, I could do that. Reminds you of this story, or that reminds me of, I could make a metaphor out of that, or whatever. It kind of sparks inspiration, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love just having fun with it. It doesn't have to be like a major theme for all of your content, but exactly like, oh, it's National Bacon Day, and so I can't think of a metaphor for it right now. I'll think of one sometime, and then it'll be after National Bacon Day, I'm sure. I'll use it for next year.
Or just, say, hey, remember how last week was National Bacon Day?
Oh, yeah, true. Actually, that's a good point. Like, literally every day could be Bacon Day if we wanted it to be. Like, bacon is very important. There cannot just be one day for it, Yeah, totally. Okay, awesome. So I love that. Understanding universal. I think that is so important. You're right. Like, especially when you're taking, I love the example of like the Black Friday thing, because it's just like, you can't be like really, you want to be very intentional about certain days for sure. And you don't want them to sneak up on you and everything. So it's important to plan ahead with that.
Yeah. So that kind of leads into the next step, which is illustrating your timeline. And that's just kind of putting these first few elements together and getting a loose structure of what you're going to be talking about that month. So you can just get a general idea of what you're going to be focusing on, what things are important, what stands out, that kind of thing. And then the next step is tune, the way you tune a guitar. And I don't know how to tune a guitar, but I know that when you set a tone for the week or the month, you do it through, in this case, a piece of core content. So in this step, we're identifying, 1 or 2 or 4 pieces of core content that we want to create. And then it's from those that we end up making all the little nuggets. And so this is kind of just like really setting the tone for each week or each month, and making sure that all of these other elements are incorporated into that. And that's where you start delivering value to your audience, is through these core pieces that you're going to set aside time for, to create and really create something that's quality and valuable.
Okay, so when you're just saying like core content, is it like, are you thinking like themes kind of, or like specific, like a specific blog post, like, or something like that?
Yeah, so I feel like we all gravitate towards particular types of content. So, you do a lot of video, but you're also a really brilliant writer. So you would probably choose one of those two as your core piece of content. So this is like something that you enjoy, that comes naturally, and it's kind of gonna be like your starting point. So that's what you're gonna invest yourself in. So whether it's a blog post or a podcast episode or a live video, whatever it is, that's gonna be kind of your anchor, and that's gonna be the most extensive piece of content that you create for that week, for that month, what your schedule is. And so I call it core content because from that core content, we pull out then little nuggets that we can place into, shorter Instagram posts, or maybe we are turning a video into a blog post by just transcribing it, or we're taking that core piece and turning it into different pieces of content that we can then share in different ways.
Yeah, and I love that too, because you just like think about kind of the flow and people's like journey through like getting to know you, like, and your marketing and everything, and so like if you can do a little nugget in a social media post and say, hey, you want more of this, click the link in my bio or whatever, then that's like exactly what you want, so it's perfect.
yeah, totally. Hey, wave. And I think it's cool to really invest ourselves in content that we enjoy creating. And then from there, when we pull out these smaller pieces, we actually get better at saying what we're trying to say. And we get better at articulating. And we can reach people in different ways, people who might be more visually inclined or who like videos more than reading, or vice versa. And we can really start relating to our audience in all of these different ways. And in doing that, we're also fine-tuning our own skills. And we're getting clearer and clearer on our message. So rather than kind of like scrambling to create 20 pieces of content through the month, we're really investing ourselves in one, and then taking that and just kind of translating it in different ways, and honing in on what that really means and kind of squeezing value out of it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I love that. Do you have any tips for like how to choose what your core pieces of content should be?
Yeah, I think, I think it's what, to me, the most important piece is what comes naturally. And of course, this is all a framework, and everyone is going to market in a way that's unique to them. So this can be tweaked, but I think in choosing your core piece, you want to pick something that comes really naturally and that you enjoy doing. Because when you enjoy doing it, it's going to turn out better, and you're going to be able to stay more consistent with it. And then once you have something that's complete, pulling out those other pieces and turning it into types of media that maybe don't come as easily to you is going to feel way less stressful, because you're really just breaking it down. So if you're just starting with what you like, like with most things, start with what you like, and the rest will just kind of work itself out.
Yeah, okay, for sure. I like that. And in my head, it's so funny because like in my head too, I'm like, well, okay, what if like, because okay, I know I do quite a few Instagram lives, but like they make me nervous as heck, I'm like forcing myself to do it sometimes, but it's good. It's good for me to step out of my comfort zone. It's fine. But I really love writing more, that. And so I'm like, well, what if someone loves like writing, and how could they take like those nuggets and put them into like video? And then I was like, oh my gosh, like what if they could just like take a few sentences from their blog post and like do like a little Instagram story and just say this, like this is what this is about, and then point it back to the blog post.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, smart girl.
It's weaving all of your tools together. And I think you bring up a point, which is actually the next step, and that's inspired content.
Yeah. Okay.
So a piece of this plan, like I said in the beginning, or this process, is kind of maintaining that, creating that space for being inspired and organic with what you have to say, and not over planning. So worked into this process is making space for that inspired content. So when you go on live, you have some bullet points, right, of what you want to say, but you obviously don't have the whole thing scripted. And so you, in doing these lives, are making space for inspired content. Like you've set aside time, you've just written down some questions or some notes. And then from there, you can hop on and do something that feels really organic. And so you're creating that space, you set that intention to do it, and then you're creating that space to put that out there. Which, I think this is a really important piece, because when we overplan, that's when it's not fun anymore. Like if we don't know how we're going to feel or what we're going to be thinking for the entire month, we can't expect ourselves to have all of our ideas at once and then not have any until next time we sit down to plan, right? We're going to have ideas. Things are going to come up that we want to talk about, and we want to make sure that we're creating space for that. Because really that's, again, going to keep our momentum going and help us develop relationships with our people that are really authentic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I know. You know how I always apply everything to Instagram because I'm my life is about that right now. But I know I'm thinking, just because whenever I work with clients and how I kind of encourage my strategy clients as well to do is to plan out their entire month of content and schedule it, just to because I feel every time you write an Instagram post in the moment, a lot of times it takes an hour. And so 30 hours a month is not the best when you could do it all, batch it. But that's something to be said. You can plan out your scheduled feed posts and still make room for the inspired content on your stories, or, this is just Instagram, but it could apply to any social network really,
Yeah, well, that's where my inspired content comes in, is through stories. And, I don't have an exact time that I go and make a story every day. And, I miss some days, but for the most part, I pop onto my stories sometime every weekday and give some kind of value to my audience. And to me, that's my place to put out inspired content. And so when I'm thinking about my week or planning out my day, that's always there. I've already decided, okay, I need 5 or 10 minutes or 20 minutes to put something out. So, I'll go do that at the park because I like doing it outside. Or I'm going to find a quiet place during my lunch, my lunch hour or whatever it is. That's already in my head. So I don't know necessarily what I'm going to say until I say it, but the intention is there. And so it allows me to structure my day around this 20 minutes that I want to spend giving value to my people in a way that's just really, really organic.
Yeah, I love that. Plan for the unplanned.
Yeah.
I do that too. And that's kind of what I encourage people to do. Yeah, just make room for something and in your calendar, even if you don't know what it is necessarily. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. Okay, I forgot what letter we're on. I just got so into the conversation.
And that was inspired content. So with O is optimize. And this is falling back on that foundational work of optimizing our efforts by turning our core content into little nuggets. So this is where my little secret recipe comes in. You're breaking down these core pieces into these nugget pieces and doing what you need to do in order to make that happen.
Okay.
So it's planning out, breaking that up. And then the final step is N for now. And that is to do something right now. Right at the end of your planning process, do some kind of creation. Whether it's something inspired, that now you're just feeling inspired, you jump on your stories and you do it, or if you want to dive into your core content, whatever it is, to start right now. Because I think it's really easy to sit there and plan and then finish your plan and then feel like you've already done it. You feel like in your head you've already done your whole month, when really you've only planned it out, which is a huge monumental step, but still no one has seen you. So it's all about getting started right away by, putting that value out there and connecting with your audience just immediately, so that then you leave your planning process feeling like, okay, I feel ready to create. like I feel ready to continue delivering this value. Like I've done work and now I'm ready to do the next step.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like if I'm ever planning anything out, I like get excited about it and all that stuff. And if I ever get then like distracted by something else and have to come back, I'm like, the energy's just not there anymore, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because this whole thing is about, we're not robots, we're people. And so we have to have systems that really help us like be humans and like lift up our good qualities and help steer us, away from the ones that might be defeating our goals. And we remember that, we're humans. We work off of energy. We work off of inspiration. We work off of momentum. Like, that's great. Those are positive things. We just have to make sure that we're working those into our methods in order to really take advantage of those qualities.
Yeah, for sure. I think that sometimes it's like easy for people to like become robotic in a way, if that makes sense, like again with like the whole Instagram thing, like you're scrolling, liking, and it's like we were just talking about this like before in the little mentor Q&A session, but like whenever I have like reached out to people on Instagram and really made it's like grown my account, it's because I like purposefully slowed down and reminded myself this isn't, even though like it's a digital interface, this is like real people on the other side. So pause, take some time to leave a comment, just don't scroll and like act like they're real people, but it's something that I had to like remind myself. Like I had to like literally be like, oh, Kins, like stop, you're scrolling and liking again, like rewind and like let's go back up and leave some comments, you know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. And we're not robots. And that's the thing with, when we bring intention to our work, especially in a digital space, then we can use the algorithms and use the tools to move forward our very human goals, our human ambitions and the things that we want to manifest as people. And without that intention, it's very hard to do that because it's easy to get sucked into this, hyper masculine strategy or like, action based strategy, or I have to do this, this, and this, and this in order to be a successful marketer, or I have to like 100 photos a day, whatever. It's easy to get caught up in that, but if you have that intention, then we can really harness the power that's there and, use it to further our cause rather than getting sucked into it and, getting lost in it.
Yeah, definitely. Tutu joined us. Hi, Tutu. Glad you're here. We're talking about content creation with Paige from Fruition Studio. She's awesome. I think you guys stalk each other already. But so Paige, okay, so she just walked us through her Fruition content planning process, and it's awesome. But tell me, like, how does this kind of work into Real Content Club? Hi, Sarah.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, with this Fruition Method, every month we are gathering around this process and we're practicing it on a monthly basis. But, if this is something you're doing by yourself as an entrepreneur, if you're doing all of your own marketing, it can easily feel lonely, right? It can, like, challenges come up, questions come up. So we're in this space, Real Content Club, to really uplift each other and encourage each other to move forward in this process and put out real content in a way that feels good and delivers results. And all along the way, we're learning about more and more tools that we can incorporate to put this plan into action, right? So you have a plan, but maybe a question will still come up, like, how do I write a better email? Or how do I get more people to open my emails? Or how do I set up an email automation? Or I want to get more people on my list. How do I do that? Like, this planning process is wonderful and can have a lot of impact on your business. But like I said before in the beginning, we're always, new social media platforms are always popping up. New opportunities are always popping up. And we're, as individuals, always trying to get to our next level of service and communication. And so in order to do that, we need to be constantly learning. And so Real Content Club puts this planning process into action every month with solidarity and support woven in there from other purpose-driven entrepreneurs. But it also incorporates this element of learning and always focusing on new, concepts and tools that we can learn and harness and implement in our businesses to create more sophisticated plans and put out more, a little bit more strategic plans every time, every month, and allow ourselves to grow as marketers.
Yeah.
Fun.
Oh my gosh, I know, I'm so excited for it. For anyone who just joined us, Sarah is already a part of the Real Content Club, actually, right? But then Tutu also, Real Content Club is launching today. She's opening the doors to it today, and it's a super cool experience, I think. And then every month is going to have a theme, right, Paige? So it's like this month is going to be kind of like walking through this whole fruition method. Mm-hmm. And then maybe, isn't next month going to be like automation, kind of learning how to like kind of use all these email marketing and like automation stuff? Yeah. Which I'm so excited for that one. That's where I need help, I think.
Yeah. So like I want to kick off the new year. There's going to be some goal setting stuff in there, of course, but I wanted to kick off the new year talking about automation and really getting all of the members set up with great onboarding systems so that when they, as people get more and more subscribers and people joining and engaging with them, they have an automated system that's already set up to nurture that relationship and bring it to the next level. Mm-hmm. So that everything we do in months that follow are always going to be falling back on this automated process. You put in the time once, you set up something that's really effective, and then it's like doing some of the work for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is just so nice. Yeah, I love that we were just talking about like how you are the human element of your business, but you can use robots to help you. That's like where it's good. Just save you time on the stuff that you like just don't have time to do again and again.
I mean, that's the whole thing with being intentional in an online space. Like, it's not like, we're not going to jump to the extreme that technology's evil, right? Like, and we're not going to to the extreme that technology will solve all of our problems. It's both, and we have to navigate that in an intentional way. And that's what you and I are doing. That's what all of our audience, everyone in our audience is at least conscious of doing, is using these tools in a way that can really move us forward and help us really get to the end result that we're trying to get to.
I love that you just said that. That is like so perfect. And it's so funny. I kind of like had that realization about like Instagram and social media. And that's kind of like where my whole like mission came from, is because I was like, I used to really not like social media that much. At least Instagram, it felt super like kind of like a show and like fake and like competitive. And then I realized like, no, this like platform is actually like a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. It's the way the humans are using it, and like the things that we're cultivating and falling into and spiraling into and all that, like that isn't necessarily like, doesn't feel the best, And so that's kind of like, yeah, exactly. I love it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for Real Content Club. If anyone is interested in joining Real Content Club, I actually just like updated the link in my profile too. So I have like a link through my profile just to, make it. It's less than $30 a month. Oh, Paige, you're back.
Okay, you disappeared too.
Oh no. Okay, I know. I just kept talking because I was like, well, I don't know if I'm the one that's paused or if it's Paige. But I was just kind of talking a little bit about Real Content Club. Can you just tell everyone kind of like how to sign up and like what am I trying to say? Like what the commitment is and what the pricing is and all that stuff.
Yeah, so right now it's founding members price. It's $30 a month and the lowest it will ever be. Everyone that's jumping in now is going to contribute to the total beginning of this new space. And yeah, there's information at fruitionstudio.com/Real Content Club, but you've got an affiliate link, right?
Yeah, I do. Sorry, I have no idea what's going on. I can't hear you very well. I think that I'm like hearing you through my phone ear hole, but it's okay. So I have an affiliate link, just like because I'm a member, and I put that up in the link in my bio. So if anyone wants to check out Real Content Club, definitely go there to learn more and sign up if you'd like to.
Yeah, for sure. So it's open. Doors are open until December 20th. But the sooner you jump in, sooner you get to enjoy it. There's live Q&As happening. There's conversations happening. I know lots of people will wait until December 20th, but jump in now and enjoy it now. You'll start getting value out of it right away. And yeah, reach out to either Kinsey or I. We can answer your questions, direct you to the right place. It's
Yay! Awesome. Sorry, I'm like straining to hear you and still in the camera. Oh man! But thank you so much for joining me, girl. I'm so excited for
me too.
Like the meeting that we had today, the Q&A was just super fun. Like it was like a conversation between all of us, and just breeding connection. And I don't know, it's like fun to geek out about this stuff with people.
It is fun.
Yeah. Okay, Paige. I'll talk to you later. Definitely hit up Paige at Fruition Studio or hit me up or click the link in my bio if you want to learn more. And thanks for joining, everyone. Bye, guys.
Bye, girl.